running?
Yep.
Okay, we will call a meeting to order. It is April 8th, 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Okay. We are still kind of hopefully nearing the peak of the coronavirus, but we have a order that is scheduled to run out Saturday, I guess, at 5 p.m. And today we are looking at a continuation of Cole County shelter-in-place ordinance that would mirror the Cole County Health Department's ordinance. Do you want to go over this, or should
Can
we?
we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah,
So, it is a stay-at-home order, and we extended the order that, we would like to extend the order that we put in place on March 27th. We did make some changes to the order just to clarify some things. There were a few provisions that were confusing for businesses, so we did make some clarifications. And, we would like to extend it for 2 weeks past what the original order was gonna expire, so that would be April 25th. It would go into effect at noon tomorrow and last until April 25th. Would you like me to talk about the big changes though?
Yes, please.
Okay, so one of the changes, the provisions that were very confusing, I think it was on page 7, number 27, talked about businesses that could deliver or ship food, groceries, or goods to residences or other essential businesses, and that was very confusing to some businesses that could deliver to homes that technically they were, perhaps the goods they were delivering were non-essential goods, but in the order it allowed for them to deliver. We found it very confusing, so we put some new language in this order that would allow them to deliver to residences or other businesses with some provisions for non-human contact, because the whole point of this order is to stop or slow the spread of COVID-19. So if activities can be done at no risk, then we considered those to be okay, because we're fulfilling the intent of the order. Of course, the other intent of the order is to get people to stay home. So if those businesses could deliver to their home, it prevents people from going out and about and spreading the virus, because that's our goal. The other provision that we did add was to adopt the governor's provision on the essential retail establishments that he enacted last Friday. I think that there was some confusion with those businesses as to whether the Cole County ordinance was in place, the governor's order, and the governor's order, of course, is in place for the whole state. He did say that local governments could be more restrictive. So our provisions, will be in place, but for those essential retail establishments, we just adopted his standards.
And so what was his standard on retail?
I believe it had to do with the square footage and the fire occupancy code.
So what does that mean, and is there a basic formula for that, or?
There is, and I think I'll defer to Matt Schofield, the fire chief, because he is much more familiar with that calculation than I am, because his agency has been assisting businesses since the governor's order went into place with calculating that. You have to come on. It doesn't project, it just records.
last week referenced existing fire code, and in the frequently asked questions, it was further explained to be a calculation that if you were not covered under fire code, that you would have some statewide recommendation as far as how that is calculated for those not covered under fire code. And that provision essentially stated that you'd use the square footage of a facility, mercantile facility, to, if it was over 10,000 square feet, it would be used as a factor of 30 feet per person, 30 square feet per person, and then that would be taken in a 10% of that overall calculation would be the number that would be allowable in that facility. For under 10,000 square feet, it would be 25%. So that was what was recommended in the frequently asked questions for those outstate areas that were not covered under existing fire code. The discrepancy for us was that our numbers are based on our current fire code, which is the IFC and IBC, both 2015 edition for the city. And for us, that number was not based on 30 square feet per person, but was based on 60 square feet per person. So we did the calculations, and since last Saturday, we started receiving calls. We have tried to help educate local businesses where they fall in relation to that calculation method. So that's what we've been doing up until this point, in good faith that is what the intent of the governor's order was to reference the existing fire code, which again, ours is the IFC IBC 2015 edition currently. Happy to answer any questions. The math is total square feet divided by 60 or 30, and then also then reduced by a percentage, 25 or 10%, based on the number of square feet total, if that makes any sense. So that's what we have been doing up until this point, but as I believe Director Campbell mentioned, that is the real question of everybody in Missouri is, do we use the numbers that were promulgated in the frequently asked questions by the governor, or do we use the existing fire code calculation?
So it's gonna be different inside of city limits if they have a different fire code.
Unless there's an order that, because really what we're talking about is a process to determine a number. Really it has nothing to do with fire code, is what I've told folks. It's just a way to arrive at a value, a number. And that number is not based on fire. That number really should be based on the spread of this virus and the recommendation of health professionals.
So, as I do the calculations, so if you're under 10,000 square feet, you get to have 15% more people in your business than if you're over 10,000 square feet.
That is correct.
That seems pretty stupid to me. I mean, so I got a small business, and on this size, I can have more people in here per square foot than I am if I got a great big building. And I'm a grocery store, and I need to feed people, and yet I'm restricted because I'm over 10,000 square feet.
Again, those are the numbers that were calculated and promulgated by the state.
Right.
And actually, it was through the DHS order, then endorsed by the governor. And I think if I could just speak to the intent, I don't know what their intent was in that. We were not part of that process to determine that formula, but I would say that at a certain point it becomes lower, a smaller number of people, so they're probably looking at, for a very small occupancy, less than 10,000 square feet, they wanted to maintain a certain number to be able to conduct their business operation. But the justification you probably have to ask.
And so that number includes employees as well as customers?
In the governor's frequently asked questions, he excluded employees. And that is inconsistent with the way we have always calculated occupancy for fire code. We've always included occupants of all varieties, whether they are employees or customers. And the intent there, just, from a fire code perspective, is that the fire doesn't know the difference. But I'll let Director Campbell indicate her order at this point, what it says and what it doesn't say. There's been a lot of discussion. This has obviously been a very there's been a lot of interest from the business community as we try to adjust to this, and so we tried to be on the educational end of it, but as far as what the order, or the extension of our existing order looks like, that is still what is up for discussion.
So I mean, I understand that it's hard to comprehend the intent, but if I go into a Dollar General that's 7,000 square feet, I can have maybe more people than I can if I go into a Schulte's that's 20,000 square feet. I mean.
And for
that-
us, it's not, there's no magic number. It's more about what the people are doing, how they're mitigating the risk, how they could or could not be spreading the virus. So, like I said, we did not have input into how Dr. Williams or Governor
Right.
Parson calculated those numbers. For us, it's more educating the public and educating the businesses on mitigating the risk of spreading the disease, because that's our goal, is to mitigate the spread.
And you have social distancing and one cart
Yeah, we did
for
have-
grocery stores,
Right.
which I think will,
Well, I think the stores were already doing that on their own.
Right, a lot of them are
Yeah,
already doing.
yeah.
The business community as a whole has been doing all the right things and is trying to do what they can because, they're trying to protect their employees too. So that's everyone's goal, is to protect the public health of the county.
So is it different inside the city versus outside the city? I guess I missed. was that-
If we
did you
apply
get
the
that?
if we apply the governors, it's the same for
Same,
everyone. If
yeah.
you apply the 30.
31st.
Now, if the city applies the 60, that would be different. But
we don't really have any big box stores
Okay.
outside
Is
of
it different
Jefferson
outside
City.
the city versus the county, yes or no?
according to our
City's
order,
gonna follow
No.
our order at 30.
No,
Normally, your fire code is 60 though, or your capacity will be
Our fire
at
code was
60.
referenced in the governor's order, but we would be following what is proposed
Okay.
in this document because that is
Gotcha.
the way that it's.
No, that's fine, I'm just trying to figure out, so when we get that question, so what, we're
Our-
inside the
ours-
city, normally it's 60,
Ours-
but,
Yeah. Well,
so
ours
this will
outside.
supersede it,
Yep.
inside and outside of incorporated areas.
That's my
Right.
understanding.
Okay, I was making sure I understood your understanding.
Well, there's been a lot of discussion back and
Right.
forth, and as you can imagine, but I think the consensus that we, in this proposal is that it would be the same and it would be,
the governor's
it would be
recommendation.
the governor's recommendation. And we would revise ours to match that.
And then the
Okay.
non-essential, it says you can have 4 people. I mean, I think that's an arbitrary number, but I think if they're doing safe distancing and doing everything right and having the proper distance away from each other, and it's a big place, you can have more people in there, so. But, I mean, I guess this is we can amend it if we need to,
Mhm.
if it becomes a problem.
And where did it outline the governor's order on the 30 per square feet or?
Here. here's, this is the,
But where's
We
the
did,
reference
all we
at in
did,
here?
all we did was reference the order. We did
Yeah,
not
we did
list the
not.
specifications. That way, if the governor changes his order, we don't have to
Here's the
change
governor's.
ours.
I got it.
okay.
But it doesn't say anything in here about it, that's what I
But,
think you're
Jill,
asking about,
may I
right?
see your paper copy?
Yeah.
So I can hear
That's
yours.
what you're asking about, Chris, was where it's at in
Right.
this,
Mhm.
It is, C1 on page 7. Limit the number of customers, employees in any essential business retail location to the maximum allowed under any, in effect, statewide health order promulgated by the Director of Health and Senior Services. That way, if they make changes, our order automatically adopts those changes.
So when it says limit the number of customers and employees, so, but that health order doesn't limit the number of employees. Is that correct?
Not in their calculation currently, it does
right.
not.
In
According
the-
to the frequently asked questions.
Right, in the order, it says individuals and a business. In the frequently asked questions, it says customers only.
Very confusing for everybody involved.
Yes, yes, sir, it is.
Whether you have 50 employees in a business or 200, I mean,
Well, and this is retail locations, so.
right.
We're basically saying that we're adopting what the governor's order says.
Okay.
Except for the part that you're counting employees?
No.
No.
No, we're not.
No,
We're,
no.
we're adopting what the, because we just said customers and employees, but basically we're,
I thought you said the governor was excluding employees.
He was.
So we are? I
No,
thought we
we're
weren't.
not counting.
the way it's worded is, we're adopting what he
We're
says.
just mirroring the
We're
governor's.
mirroring what he says. If you think the language is confusing, we could just say limit the number of individuals.
So we are excluding employees in the count, in that 30 foot?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. But like I said, if you think the language is confusing to the general public, we could just say limit the number of individuals.
Well, on one hand, we're saying limit the number, and it includes employees, so then we're going and giving special exceptions to the, to some other industry, so that's why it is very confusing. So restaurants are, what, 10 counting employees, is that what we?
Yes.
That's what the
And that was,
governor's order
again,
says,
that's
yes.
mirroring the governor's,
Correct,
the way they count.
correct.
So if they got 9 employees, they can have one person into the.
Mhm. But see, ours is just pickup, so.
No, that's not true.
Pick
They can have
up-
as many employees in there as they want. If they're over 10,000 square feet
In restaurants?
Hmm.
in a retail place.
Right,
No, but restaurants, what I'm talking about, is they're limited to 10
that's what the
employees
governor's order
and
says,
people coming in.
yes.
Right.
So if you have more than 10 employees, then it's gonna be just pickup, which I think a lot of restaurants now have
Right.
spaces for people to pick up, so I don't think that would create a hardship for any of
But
them.
I think that's part of the confusion, you got different rules in different places, so. Is that your pacemaker?
Yeah. It's time for a bourbon. Or 3. I'm good. I still think it's confusing, but, I mean, we'll probably get some of the questions, but anyway, as long as the bulk of the businesses understand. And I think most of them are compliant already on their own.
Yeah, I'm just mad because I had your order figured out and where to tell them to go and look at what number, and now I gotta do Roman numerals and.
We're trying to make it less confusing, because the first one was pretty onerous and long.
I was fine with that, I got it figured out.
Once you got
I
it
knew,
figured
go
out,
look
you're
at
good.
27, you're fine, go ahead and do stuff. and
Right,
You gotta wear a mask and cross your fingers and hope to die, so. I'm fine with it, we can change it if we have problems with it or issues later on.
are you fine with the start and end dates that we proposed?
That was
It is
tomorrow at noon through when?
It's Saturday, April 25th at noon.
And the governor's is till the 24th of April, so we're,
Well, I think I might look at something different than the 25th and go either
Sure.
like through the end of the 27th. So that way, I mean, if he doesn't announce on the 24th that he's extending it or not extending it, then we're gonna have to come in, correct?
Yeah.
I think he'll be ahead of schedule just for informational purposes, and so will we though, so.
Kinda like his was
Just
gonna,
like we are right now.
his was gonna expire on Monday, they did
I got a
something
dollar
on
on
Friday.
Got a dollar on
You're taking the over or under?
it. Oh,
How do you work with him?
I'm okay with the end date, I mean.
We can always
it's
adjust.
arbitrary, we
Right.
we can change it, we can, hopefully within
Take a
2
look at it
weeks,
in 2
we're gonna
weeks.
be,
They're still projecting the.
yeah, and so if that's the case, then the next order you issue might be completely different.
Maybe we'll.
What news channel you watching? Just depends.
Channel 17. Oh,
Look at all the models.
Good then?
So do we need to call vote?
no, I think we need to,
I move that we enact the Cole County Stay at Home ordinance.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
Jeff, you need a copy?
Yes, I do.
Jill is making a clean cut.
yeah, we,
Are you following them or how?
Yes.
Okay, so the city.
It'll mirror the same thing. Yeah. So now that that's done, I'll probably go sign ours. Steve, you wanna- Perfect.
yeah, 4:30, we can retire for,
Get you a copy, and
Yes, please.
you might need a copy back there too, so Jill getting a couple.
She's making a clean signature page so we can sign it
Okay.
and then we'll make copies.
Thank you all. I know we're not adjourned, but I do want to say thank you for the city and county working together on this and really appreciate our partnership and your leadership and Christy from the health department and all of the entities that are working so hard to get this together. So appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
We get some copies for Jeff and KMIZ too.
Do I need to sign two or is it?
Clarification too. Is this, I know you said it goes into effect again at noon. Is this just this, it's the same thing, it's just extended, is that correct? I mean, there's no change or?
We made a few changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Overall, this is what you signed, this is what went into effect on March 28th,
Correct.
right? Okay, so it's just basically extending it.
With a few changes. With clarification. People still need to stay home.
Understand, I just want to make sure I say
And
that.
they shouldn't travel out of state for Easter. That's the question.
I move that we stand in recess till 4:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, Christie.
Oh, no, Jeff, did you need to do something else on there?
What was this? SSN?
No, he said take that off.